Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate the introduction. This is Anthony Aker with TransLogic. I'm very excited to be doing some training for you guys today. I know that some of you guys have seen this and are somewhat familiar with it, and for some of you, this might be brand new. So we're really excited about this. Just as Aaron said, there's been kind of a slow build-up going on in the background, but there's a lot of agents that are having real success with this product right now, and I think it's the perfect time to be engaging in something like this. So we're going to start out. We're going to go through a quick slide deck. This can be made available to you afterwards for your review, and then we're going to get into a demo so you can kind of see how things work and be familiar with that. And then we'll kind of pepper you guys with a few success stories, a few examples of how people are using this in the market right now to differentiate themselves and to kind of, as Aaron said, change the conversation with merchants. So, Aaron, I'm just going to ask you real quick, can you see my screen, and then you'll kind of answer for the group?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So, as Aaron mentioned, our experience here at TransLogic is a background in the payment space. So we know the issues and the difficulties that you guys face every day. And so what we set out on was to build a new product that would help to deliver new value to merchants, and then therefore make your guys' lives a little bit easier. And so the benefits of TransLogic are, as you can see here on the screen, the ability to better understand your customers, who they are currently, and then how to go about getting more new customers. There's also a variety, in addition to kind of some of the marketing things that have been mentioned so far, there's a variety of different business decisions that you can better make with this type of information, such as maybe pricing decisions, inventory decisions. Should I carry new products or mix things up a little bit? Should I open a new location? Have I kind of reached the ceiling at my current location, etc.? And so the offering is kind of segmented into two levels. There's a standard portal. Now, the reason that we have broken it down in this way is that we are really trying to serve a broad market and make this product accessible to merchants of all shapes and sizes. So the idea of data analytics, big data, those types of topics, business intelligence, those things, for a lot of people, if you bring up those topics in conversation, they're going to tune out because they don't feel like it applies to them. They don't feel like they're sophisticated enough. They don't feel like they have time for something like that. And so in the standard portal, we've tried to very quickly kind of drill down to the nitty-gritty and refine what we serve up there. And so we organize that just in top 3 customer groups so that a merchant, without being overwhelmed, can quickly extract some information. There are a quick description that we'll go into a little bit more detail on with what those customer groups look like and what the segmentation looks like surrounding those customer groups. Kind of in addition to that, there's a My Report section that gets a little bit deeper dive into some of the analysis that a merchant can undertake. Within the My Report section, there are some basic reports and some trending reports. So if a merchant makes any sort of a business decision based upon who their best customers are, right? So say I engage in a marketing campaign, I can track the results of that campaign over time. There's a Get More Customers button, which is going to assist a merchant in taking the next steps in this process, right? So it's great to have a bunch of information, but unless I can do something with that that's going to help my business grow and make more money, then it's not necessarily something that I'm interested in. And so we wanted to make sure that a merchant can kind of close the loop on the information that's provided here. And have the ability to do that with the Get More Customers button. When they click on that Get More Customers button, they're going to be connected to a live marketing consultant that will consult with them on what they can do with that information and how to interpret it. That consultation is free and is no cost, and they're connected to a very reputable group called Knowledge Based Marketing Group. And so there's marketing experts there that can kind of coach them along. And then there's a professional portal that's labeled as the Analytics Suite. When you go to the Analytics Suite, you go to a much more dynamic environment. It's more customizable. It's more targeted towards kind of your higher-end merchant, higher volume, maybe multi-location, those types of things. Within the Analytics Suite, within the professional portal, there's a map view that's going to create a heat map where a merchant can see overlaid where their customers are coming from based upon, and then it's, again, the heat map encoding is related back to either the sales volume that those customers account for or the number of transactions that those customers account for. There's a designer view where a merchant can create their own customized reports, and then a data view where they can review the raw data. So also within the portal, there's a variety of guides and training materials for the merchant. This is very important to you guys because we've tried to really make this an environment where a merchant can kind of feed themselves and then they can kind of grow up and evolve within the system. And so we've got all of the materials there to help support that. There's tutorial videos as well, so not everyone wants to sit down and read a guide, and so there's a bunch of videos that kind of walk a merchant through each step. So a couple of frequently asked questions. How does the merchant access the portal? That can be done directly through the Signature website. There's some links to access on there. And then the technical support. Within the portal, there is a support section that they can submit questions to regarding technical aspects of the portal. Those come to us, and we answer those on a white label basis. But at the same time, we want to make sure that you guys are armed with all the information as well. In case you get any calls, you can answer those, or at least direct those to where they need to go to get answered. Again, you guys are going to get access to this slide deck, so I don't want to spend too much time reading through these. I want to spend a little bit of time in the portal itself so you can see that and become somewhat familiar with it. But I do want you to know that there are some one-sheets and some additional sales collaterals that we have developed that you can reference when talking about this or reviewing this in case you want to go in and pitch a merchant on it. You can kind of quickly bring yourself back up to speed in case you haven't thought about it for a little while. And you'll be ready to field any questions that might still come up. So, additionally, my contact information is on here, so feel free to reach out to me or any of your Signature representatives if you have any questions about this. So I'm going to jump over to the portal so you guys can get a chance to see that. So when a merchant goes to log in for the first time, they can create a new account and username and credentials based upon their MID and their zip code. And then once they've created those credentials, they'll log in here through the dashboard. And when they log in for the first time, they're going to be met with a little wizard that's going to walk them through a few steps. The same as if you download a new app on your phone or a new program on your computer that's going to kind of guide you through how to use the program. Before a merchant can get overwhelmed, it's going to direct them through a couple quick steps. So here within the portal, up in the top left-hand corner is where the branding is going to exist. And then along the left side here, there's a little welcome message along with a couple of videos. The first video is a couple of merchants that we worked with in developing the product, and so it's kind of a commercial / testimonial that you have there with a couple of merchants and how they're using this type of information and the decisions that they're making with it. On the second video is a getting started video, and that's going to take a merchant kind of step by step through the navigation of the portal. So if you click here, this is going to happen. If you click here, this is going to happen. It's only a couple of minutes long, but it's definitely helpful in orienting a new merchant to our site. Additionally, we have all these videos on our YouTube and Vimeo channels, and so we can make those available to you so you can review any of the videos and familiarize yourself with any of the aspects of the portal that we may quickly cover in this demo. Across the top is the standard navigation buttons, but right here in the middle is the top 3 customer groups that I mentioned earlier in the slide deck. And this is where it starts to get customized for a merchant. Now, all the information that's driving this portal is collected in the background by signature, which is important because when you're going in to sell a merchant, they don't have to make any changes to their existing point-of-sale equipment, to their existing terminal. They don't have to do any downloads or anything like that. Everything is collected behind the scenes, so they don't have to interact with their customers in any new ways, and it makes it very easy for a merchant to sign up and say yes. These top 3 groups are based upon the actual sales for this merchant. So this top group here, established wealth suburban retirees, and the name itself is somewhat descriptive, so you can kind of get an idea of what that customer looks like. But this is the type of customer that spends more money at this merchant than any other customer. So just so you have a little context, this demo environment is based upon a restaurant out in Palm Springs, California. And so for this restaurant, their top customer group is a group called Established Wealth Suburban Retirees. And when you click on that group, you're going to see just a brief description here that's going to give you some insight into the mind of this customer, how they go about making decisions, what influences them, who they have influence over, etc. Then you're going to see, in addition to that, some demographic information, how much money they make, how old they are, married, children, etc. And then at the bottom of the page, you're going to get some more specific economic information. So things like median income as compared to the U.S. average, etc. Now, all this is more information about a merchant's customers than they've ever had access to before. Let's take a second to digress as to what we're actually saying here. So what we deliver back to this merchant is this profile connected to a transaction amount. What we're not saying, for example, is, okay, Mr. Merchant, you had a transaction on the 15th, and that customer was Anthony Aker, and here's his phone number, and here's his address, and here's how much money he makes, etc. We don't return that personally identifiable information. What we do return are these profiles about that type of customer, right? So now they can better understand who the type of customers that shop in their store, and then if they want to go out and target additional customers that look just like that, they have the information that they need to be able to do that. So just so we're clear, no personally identifiable information is returned in here back to the merchant. So for some merchants, we have seen that getting the information on just who their top 3 customer groups are is enough, right? They don't have a lot of time to spend in here. They are curious and they want to know some information, but once they've seen this, they say that's enough. For other merchants, they want to take a little bit deeper look, and so the My Report section is that next level of information. And so in the My Report section, we serve up 5 static reports and then 10 trending reports. And those static reports are going to show information across all time periods for that merchant. So you can get a look at where their top geographies are. So what cities am I drawing the most business from in my surrounding area? Again, I can see information about who my top customers are. And then I can go to the trending reports and I can see that information, how it might be changing over time, right? So I can see maybe in July I did a promotional event, or I did a mailer, for example, and I tried to bring in more of my top customers, and then I can go back and look in the system and see, okay, well, how does that compare to June? Did I move the needle? Or I can go in and I can compare it to July 2012 to see if my customers look different compared to last year. Again, those training reports are served up across a variety of variables, so you can see customers, you can see geographies, you can see it by sales, you can see it by transaction count, you can see it by repeat sales, right? So what does my loyalty look like? Are more of my customers becoming repeat customers, or am I having to go out and attract more customers to achieve the same amount of sales? Those types of things. So once a merchant has kind of learned a lot of this information, again, we make available to them to get more customers button where they can, if they don't know what to do, some merchants will access this information, will instantly have a plan in their head, right? So maybe they have a marketing company that they are already engaged with and doing marketing and promotional work, so they can take this information and better refine those programs and those efforts. If they aren't engaged in anything right now and they don't really know what to do, and they need someone to hold their hand, that someone might be you. They might pick up the phone and call you, and then you can talk them through that and some of the ideas that they might want to take in next steps. Or you can direct them towards the Get More Customers button. When they fill out the Get More Customers button contact form, it's going to go off to that marketing consultant, who then can guide them on some next steps to take. If they would like to engage in those efforts through the consultant, they can procure services through them as well, which we have used scale to discount, and we pass all that value along to the merchant. So those services can be had at about 20 to 30% less of what they could go and find them on their own. So, again, as Aaron mentioned, if you have more questions on any of this type of stuff, there's going to be a little bit of a Q&A forum afterwards. So, as we mentioned in the slide deck, there are training materials, and so there are a host of tutorial videos that a merchant can watch, and so they have a specific question over any of the features that we're going over here in the tool. There's videos that surround each one of those that guide a merchant click by click how to navigate around and what that information that they're looking at might be. Additionally, there are guides ranging from a quick reference guide to a full user manual. We've got the customer profiling here. So the customer profile that we looked at, we've got all the segmentation across all of the different variables for the entire U.S. there. So if someone wants to go in and kind of browse the 71 different customer groups that we've divided the U.S. into, they can do that. And then we've got some cheat sheets for creating your own custom reports. There's a My Account section where a merchant can administer their account. They have the ability to add users. So if I am a store owner and I want to give my store manager access to this information, I can create their own username and account for them. You can add as many users under your account for no additional cost. If I want to delete that user, I can go in and manage that user and remove them just in case that employee doesn't work for me anymore. Or I can actually opt out of the whole program from here. In the support section, a user has the ability to submit a question. Again, this question comes to us. We answer it within 24 hours and help aid in the support in that sense. So that's kind of everything within the basic offering that we package towards kind of all merchants, maybe the smaller of the SMB market, someone that wants kind of a marketing package in a box, that's available to them. For someone that wants maybe a little bit deeper look at the data itself, we have the Analytics Suite. Within the Analytics Suite, as I mentioned, it's more of a dynamic environment where a merchant can go in and have access to more customizable features that they can use to better understand maybe a more specific business question that's on their mind. And we'll get to those in a little bit. So in addition to kind of just top customers and the top geographies, we're able to drill down here a little bit more. So when they first come over to the Analytics Suite, they're going to go to a key performance dashboard. And on here, as I mentioned, they can play around in this environment more. So they can drill down on a specific graph. So for example, this graph that we're looking at is the top customers of the top geography by sales. So this is what we call a top-to-top report, and it gets more specific as to who I want to target or how I better want to classify or understand my customer groups. Within this environment, a merchant can change the graphs around, they can change colors, they can reorganize things, etc. They can drill down into the underlying data. So if they want to see on a transaction-by-transaction basis as to what is driving these graphs, they can do that. Additionally, we've pre-built 25 different dashboards for a merchant to look at. So if they want to drill down to a specific geography or time slice, they can go and drill down through that, all the way down to specific zip +4 code that is focusing on where those merchants are coming, or where those customers are coming from. Within this environment, they can look at it either in the dashboard view or in a book view, and so they can go through and look at graphs on a one-by-one basis and flip pages to view the same type of information. Within the data view is where a merchant would go to see the raw transaction data. So they may, if they're of a certain size or sophistication, have their own environment that they use to understand and manipulate data. Within the data view, they can go and they can see kind of some Excel type features. Additionally, if they want to take this, export it to their own environment, they can do that. They can filter, they can query, they can create their own custom data sets, again, for answering a very specific question. If they want to use our environment to answer those types of questions, a great way to do it is in the designer view. Within the designer view, they can create their own custom reports that they can then save to their dashboard. The environment here is very intuitive. It's just drag and drop. So you can select an X and Y axis and click generate, and it's going to generate that quickly is going to generate a report that a merchant can look at. So that'll be so for example, we're looking at all customers divided by sales or across sales. And so you have all these different customer groups that shop within a merchant. Well, there's a big range there, so maybe that's too much information for me to look at. So I can drill down and look at, say, just the top 4. And if I click that and generate, now I can focus on just my top 4 customer groups. Additionally, I have the ability to filter down and ask very specific questions. So, for example, there was a merchant that we were working with in beta who said, a question that I really would like to focus on is better understanding what my weekday crowd compared to my weekend crowd looks like. If I stand in my restaurant, and this is a sushi restaurant in downtown LA, if I stand in my restaurant on the weekday, and then I come back on the weekend, I can tell just by looking around that those customers are very different. But I don't have any information necessarily to back that up or to better understand how to make decisions between those two different groups. And so they wanted to know if we could help them better understand those things. And so because of the dynamic environment that you have in the analytics suite, we can. And so you can select a specific date or a date range that you want to look at. So if I wanted to, look at the 1st of July, or if I wanted to look at just that week, or if I ran a special promotion on the 4th of July to try and bring in a certain crowd, I can look at that specific day to understand what that promotion looks like and filter down on that date range and then see what the report looks like for that date. From here, I can do a variety of things too. I can save this report. I can post it to my dashboard so the next time that I log in, I can see only the reports that I find relevant. I don't have to create them again and again and again. I can print this report out. I could include it in a marketing plan. I could give it to my boss, etc. And then lastly, there's a map view. And as we touched on, within the map view, you have the ability to take some of this information that we've been looking at and display it over a heat map. And so you have the ability to select a time period and either the sales amount or the transaction count, depending on the type of merchant you are, depending on the business you're in. One might be more relevant to you. And then there's going to be a bunch of pre-generated sales buckets and colors associated with those. All those sales numbers, as well as the colors associated with them, are customizable if a merchant wants to, but otherwise we generate them for the first time. So again, this environment is completely interactive, so a merchant can drill down on a specific geography within the map, and then all the heat bins are going to be overlaid on top of that. Additionally, we have some tools here that a merchant can use to better understand what those are. So looking at this map, again, keeping in mind that my restaurant is out here in Palm Springs, and so it makes sense that a large portion of my top sales groups are out here in Palm Springs, but I can see that there's a dispersion of these other top sales groups across Southern California here. And so if I take the magnifying glass, I can click on one of those and better understand what's going on there. So this one, for example, is Huntington Beach, and I had 6 transaction counts from customers there representing almost $500. Additionally, you have a facial search tool, so if I wanted to draw a circle around my location and then hit query, I can pull up the information for all the transactions and sales right around my location, better understand that. Again, you have the ability to export this information included in different materials. So that's a real quick overview of what is available to a merchant within the Analytics Suite. Again, additionally, and I'm sure Aaron can speak to these as well, but I know that Signature has had some agents that have had great success and have had some very interesting conversations with merchants. The feedback from merchants has been very positive. The ability to use this as a value add to gain that processing account, to go in there and not have to talk about price per se, and say, hey, is this something your current processor is able to provide you with? We here at Signature are happy to provide you with this feature, and we're happy to do it for you and match your existing rates, right? You don't even have to beat their existing rates. That's a true real world story in how agents are selling this. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Aaron at this time. I appreciate everyone kind of waiting patiently and sitting quietly on the phone as I kind of run through this all really quickly. And I look forward to answering any questions that you might have.
Yeah, guys, and one thing that might make sense too, Anthony, guys, keep in mind, you'll have the ability to log in on your merchant's behalf to, kind of manage this for them, and the tool is pretty self-explanatory, and if more in-depth questions are, how do I run this report? That can all be directed through our office as we're going through kind of our phase 3 of advanced user training here, and we'll be able to answer those questions. But as someone who's sold bank card for 10 plus years, I have to tell you, this tool is like nothing else I've seen in terms of how it changes the conversation. It's funny. You have merchants, and they all subscribe to the service called Valpak. Well, Valpak charges, according to the zip code that they're in, but I called just for grins in LA County, and to be in the weekly Valpak in and around our zip here, which is 90069, just to be in that Valpak once a week, and I believe it's a total of actually 5 distributions a month it goes out. You're looking at, for a one-sided sheet, which is roughly a third of a page, you're looking at almost a $3,000 a month commitment. So let's work some backwards math, and let's look at our average restaurant merchant at a $50,000 merchant with call it just a $25 average ticket. Okay, so on a $25 average ticket, we're talking 2,000 transactions. You can now walk into places comfortably and feel all right by being a dime more a transaction than the competitor, or not having to reduce and not have to cut into the profit margin that exists with their current provider, because essentially you'd be moving pieces around the puzzle, and just moving figures from one column to another, because the reality is they're spending $1,000, $2,000 on marketing, and they have no idea where their marketing is going, and they have no idea. We have just a quick anecdote. We've got a client here that uses the service, and he assumed that his best customers came from where he was advertising, which was in the neighborhood of West Hollywood. And it's interesting, his best customers actually come from Long Beach, and he wasn't spending a penny on that demographic to advertise out there, and has since started advertising in Long Beach. And we can verify this because we have the credit card data and the volume, and his credit card volume's up about 11% over where he was this time last year. And some of that's the economy coming back. I don't want to just say that TransLogic is gonna the silver bullet as everybody's looking for, right?
No, you can say that, Aaron.
But it's pretty close. So let's assume that we're seeing about a 5 to 7% increase in processing volume just because of the economy. But still, heck, I'll take a 5% increase on $50,000 in business. It's $2,500, so that I don't have to increase my credit card processing costs. So it all becomes, number one, you've got the ability to have them more efficiently spend their marketing dollars, and number two, you're going to increase sales, and you're going to be able to verify it. So I think that it changes the dynamic of the conversation up front. It's no longer let me save you money. It's I'm here to grow your business. I'm here to help you effectively and efficiently spend your money. So I know a lot of the people on this line, known you guys for a long period of time, and some of you I'm just meeting, but I think a lot of the folks in this line have a consultative sales approach, and I think that approach will fit nicely in with this product. Additionally, the other nice aspect of this is that currently Signature Card Services is one of the few ISOs in the country that have access to this. So Heartland Payments doesn't have access to this. A lot of our major competitors do not have access to this. So there's a real opportunity to get in there and be a pioneer to, number one, get more accounts for yourself, but number two, prevent your existing portfolio from external forces, which can be, the Heartlands of the world going out and giving, Sally's Shoe Shop on Main Street that does $2,000 a month interchange at 4 cents. This is how we defend against that. So that's kind of a high level. There's also marketing pieces Everyone on this call has worked with Anush and her staff. I know some of you have actually had customized pieces made. Anush, is obviously always looking for feedback on the stuff that we've presented. But I believe, Anush, do you want to pick up in terms of what we have available to the team and some stuff that will be coming out down the road?
Yeah, sure. Anthony actually mentioned that they helped us create one sheet. We have them available for pretty much every industry out there. We can customize them for you guys. So just send me a quick email or call me, and I will work with you personally to get you to the point where you have materials that work for you with the templates that we already have in place.